American immigration lawyers say that the case of a BC woman detained by U.S. border security over a visa issue should serve as a warning to others about crossing the border for work. U.S. immigration lawyer Jim Hacking says Jasmine Mooney is one of many recent cases where people are being detained or deported due to U.S. President Donald Trump's crackdown on immigration. Mr. Hacking mentioned that in his nearly 20 years of practicing immigration law, he has never seen someone with a visa like Miss Mooney's detained for several days. He believes that instead of denying her entry, Border Control's actions suggest a strategy to discourage all immigration to the U.S. He spoke with us earlier about Miss Mooney's case.
So under the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, Canadian nationals, Mexican nationals can get their visas actually processed at the border. It's sort of an unusual visa that way. And historically, most Canadians who work in the United States who have a TN qualifying occupation just show up at the border, they show them their paperwork, they get their stamp, and off they go. And so it's been pretty perfunctory for well over 20 years. And to see the problems and the shenanigans that are happening right now at the border, it's sort of eye-opening. I think that everyone from Canada or Mexico should expect that this tightening will continue, that life will be made harder. The Trump administration is intent on making life difficult, not only for illegal immigrants, but also legal immigrants. They basically don't want people coming here and they want to be as antagonistic as possible. So, over the last 2 weeks, we've seen stories of green card holders, H-1B visa holders, L-1 visa holders, and TN visa holders not only get refused entry, which of course has happened over time forever, but there's a lot more media attention to it now because of the treatment that they're receiving. This actress who was taken into custody and sort of detained for 10 or 11 days at the border in San Diego it's sort of a ridiculous encroachment and acceleration of the way that they are processing these people. And I think it's really terrible.
We also asked Mr. Hacking what advice he would give to Canadians traveling to the U.S.
Interestingly, the TN process is a little bit easier for Canadians than Mexicans. So Mexicans actually have to go to the consulate and get a visa. And I think if I were a Canadian national, I would start thinking long and hard about that. Now, the tricky thing is that there's always these timing issues, right? Because a lot of TN visa holders sort of work close to the border or they cross the border a lot. And so they have to be concerned with, well, if I do the actual application and try to get it from the embassy, is that going to slow me down? Is that going to mess up my travel schedule? I've really been saying since January 20th that people need to be thinking about the United States as having an invisible wall coming out around it. And so this idea of coming back and forth often is going to be a lot harder. I think you're going to see people having to stay in the United States or stay outside the United States for much bigger chunks of time. And a lot of that flexibility that's been there for Canadians is unfortunately going to dry up.
Lastly, we asked Mr. Hacking if the rise in detentions is part of the negotiating process for the Trump administration during the trade war.
No, I do not believe that this is a negotiation tactic. I believe that this is the white nationalism, the anti-immigrant sentiment, the hardcore right elements of the Project 2025 people who are now running the Trump campaign. If you look at Project 2025, this is all part of their playbook. This is exactly what they wanted. This is exactly what they promised, even though Donald Trump ran away from it during the election campaign. Stephen Miller and those of his ilk want to stop legal immigration to the United States. They want America first. They want to make it harder and more unsatisfactory for immigrants to stay in the United States, to work in the United States. And it's all ridiculous because the fact is the United States needs workers from overseas. Our population is dwindling. And of course, they view that as a threat to white republicanism. And so that's really what the problem is that they want to stop legal immigration. And finally, people are starting to wake up to the fact that that is really what their end game is. It was never just about illegals or closing the borders. It was about just making life hard for immigrants because they can.